Hi, today we're going to try to understand the connection between culture and communication. But before we get started, in every single one of my videos, I'm going to ask you the question, where in the world is Talita Pruitt? To get you more engaged with world geography and culture. And the student who has the first correct answer gets extra credit points. Can humans communicate without culture? Have you ever thought about this? What is this connection between culture and communication? And I'm here to tell you that culture cannot exist without communication, and communication cannot exist without culture. It's a bit of like a chicken and the egg kind of connection. One needs the other to happen. So culture depends on communication to be transmitted. Now, on the other hand, communication couldn't exist without culture. And the transactional communication model helps us understand that a little bit better. So what the transactional communication model tells us is that as human beings, we are the only creatures that can encode abstract thoughts and feelings, consider how you feel about someone, or a complex idea, such as a physics class, or even this lecture. We can only transmit those ideas and feelings because we have them in our brains, we experience them, and we can encode them through the use of language. Someone else, another communicator, receives this message and is able to decode based on the shared field of experiences, including language. This shared field of experience includes culture. So communication can only exist because of culture. Think about the experience of trying to communicate with someone who speaks another language. They have different symbols, language symbols, and also nonverbal symbols to encode and decode the same message. To illustrate this just a little bit further, I want to introduce you to something we're going to discuss more in depth on chapter 4, semiotic triangle, by Ogden and Richards in 1923. This model talks about our use of symbols to explain real world things. I want you to think for a moment of a dog, and I want you to pause here and specifically picture what kind of dog came to your mind. Dogs exist in the real world, all kinds of dogs, but chances are that each one of you picture a different dog. Maybe someone pictured a lab, someone else a poodle or a chihuahua. Chances are you picture a dog that's in your life. If you are a dog owner, you picture that dog, right? So you have the actual object or the real world thing, the dog. There is your knowledge or interpretation, what comes to your mind when I say the word dog. And here's the symbol, which in our case is the word dog. It could be written or it could be the phonetic sound for dog. When I say the word dog, it triggers this concept in your mind that refers to a real world thing. Here's the funny thing. The connection between the symbol or language and the actual real world thing is just a dotted line, because there isn't a connection between an actual word and the real object. But different cultures have agreed to call something something, right? Notice, for example, that the word dog in Portuguese, cachorro, is completely different than the word dog in German, Hund, and in Spanish, perro, I should say. So that's once again showing a little bit of this connection between language and culture. Now, there is a famous scholar named Geert Hofstede who wrote this book, Exploring Culture. He conducted a study where he asked subjects to interpret different images, and I want to share with you some of the images that he used it. The subjects of his study were between 14 and 50-year-olds, and they came from many countries, including Bolivia, China, Ethiopia, France, Indonesia, Italy, Netherlands, Peru, Tunisia, and Uganda. So what I want to ask you to do now is every time I show you a picture, I want you to write down what do you think this picture is showing. just like Geert Hofstede asked his subjects. So let's go ahead and start. Let's try it out. So you can write on a piece of paper, but you also have a chance to write here on Play Pause It on your video. So what do you see? What do you interpret? What's happening in this picture? Take a moment to write it down. Take a moment and type down, what do you see in this picture? Let's see the final one. This one causes a lot of controversy when I share this with my face-to-face students. Why do you think your interpretation might be missing or not? And why do we think we get such a huge variety of replies? Some that perhaps haven't even crossed your mind when you first saw the picture. We cannot make assumptions just by looking at something, because even though we're not completely aware of it, we bring our own cultural frame to any given situation we're faced with. So in chapter 1, Mark Staller compares culture to a set of glasses, lenses, that affects the way we see the world. And we unconsciously utilize that. In a way, we are always biased. So this is the little bit of critical thinking that I want to share with you for this week. Consider this connection between culture and communication, how they are completely interdependent, and how your cultural lenses affect every interpretation, every situation that you're faced with in your life.